All right, Schilzy. A big topic in some of our group chats is Rickie Flowers, the
Richard Flowers.
Richard Flowers,
Richard
Rickie
Flowers.
Fowler, Richard Flowers. He's a fan favorite. I think we all kind of know the dirt on him because we watch a lot of golf every week and maybe don't get the hype too much, but people love this guy, and I know you have a take on why maybe people shouldn't love this guy. So if anyone doesn't watch a lot of golf, they're new to the game, why is Rickie a fraud?
Rickie's a fraud because, oh God, Rickie hasn't won anything. Like, he just hasn't won anything. Rickie puts on this facade. He wears the orange pants. He's the Oklahoma State dude. He came out with the long hair, the Fu Manchu. He is a poster boy. Like, when he came out of college, the PGA Tour was basically like, you are the dude that we've been waiting for 50 years to like throw on every Quicken Loans commercial and goddamn, like, I don't know, Carl's Jr. ad that we could possibly find. And like, that was great. And when you look at his earlier career, like, he wasn't anything. I mean, I can't say he wasn't anything special in college. He won the Ben Hogan Award, but like, he burst onto the scene with his like cool swag or whatever. And I think because all of that and because of his marketability and he basically had a ton of top fives and like top threes early in his career that like was like, oh wow, this is the young new dude. He's contending. And he snagged a couple wins early in his career. But since then, I mean, when you look at it, he's won once every 2 years. And for someone that people are going to think is the best golfer in the world or the best golfer in an open field or a major field, like, Rickie Fowler's just not it.
Right. And I think that's the big thing is the misconception out there that he's good. I understand why he's popular because he wears the cool clothes. And I will say his style has gotten better over the years. He's not wearing as much orange and all that kind of stuff. But I get the marketability and why he's popular, but I think that breeds into people thinking that he's actually a good PGA Tour player. Obviously, he's a good golfer. I'm not going to get into that, but thinking that he's good on the PGA Tour, which just statistically, there are a lot of guys who are much lesser known that are much better than Rickie as of, over the course of their career.
100%. I mean, even look at our boy, Tyrrell Hatton. I would take Tyrrell Hatton head-to-head against Rickie Fowler any day of the week. I don't care where you drop them on the planet. Like, Tyrrell Hatton's winning. Hatton's winning, right? And like, when you look at Rickie's tour career and you look at his wins, he has 5 PGA Tour wins. First was 2012, Wells Fargo burst onto the scene. Like, and he won that in a playoff. He beat Rory and he beat DA Points, right? Well, DA Points is for another topic of discussion, but he beat Rory. I'll give it to him. He won Wells Fargo. Rory rips apart Quail Hollow. So for him to beat Rory there, like, that's a pretty big win. His next win came in 2015 at the Players, and he won twice that year. If there is a more perfect place for like the most overmarketed, most overrated, and just before that Players happened, like, there was the survey of who is the most overrated player in the league, and it was Rickie, and he goes out and wins it. And what a more perfect place to win. That. Yeah, and what a more perfect place to win than the Tour's headquarters, like their crown jewel, TPC Sawgrass. And what does he do? On the signature hole, the hole that every Joe Schmo knows, the 17th green at Sawgrass, he goes and sticks it 4 times in a row and birdies 17 every single time. But what you don't know, and what most people don't know, unless you're you or me or, the 1% of crazy people that watch this stuff every single week, is that 17 is kind of a gimmick fucking hole. It's the worst hole on that golf course. I don't care what anyone says. 15's better, 16's better, 17 sucks, and 18 is the best hole on that course. So, like, it was like picture perfect, gift wrapped, just a beautiful Christmas present for the PGA Tour to throw every ounce of marketing dollars at this kid to make him, his quote unquote, like, this generation's Arnold Palmer. And I'm sorry, he just isn't.
Right. Well, now, what I would say, do you think he's been affected kind of by the Tiger effect in that we're expecting everyone to have this longevity in that? Because looking at his world rankings where he finishes up year end rank 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So that's 5 years. He was 10th, 6th, 12th, 7th, 11th. So that's a 5 year period of really good golf where 2019 was 23rd and then 2013 was 40th at the year end. So he wasn't great on those bookends, but for those 5 years where you could say if a guy does the problem is he didn't win much, but if you say for 5 years he was well within the top 15, he was probably maybe lower than six at probably not, but maybe he was lower than six at one point, but he was well within the top 15 for 5 straight years. He won the fifth major, a big tournament at the Players. He won another one at Wells Fargo, which is a big golf course against Rory, kind of going head to head with Rory and DA points. But could you kind of say that 5 years being top 15 in the world with a win at one of the biggest, the fifth biggest tournament in the world, maybe that's a pretty good career, all said and done.
I mean, when you look at his results, I will give him this, that 2014, 2015, and 2016 were phenomenal years. It was a great
Mm-hmm.
3-year run. Everyone remembers 2014 where he kind of notched his belt and his kind of mark in history and being top 5 in every single major. T5 at the Masters, T2 at the US Open, T2 at the Open Championship, and T3 at the PGA Championship. Like, that's awesome. And then even when like you take it a step further and look at what he did in WGCs, those 3 years, in T44, third, T8, T3, T12, 16th, 10th, T17, 8th, 38th, T10, T6. So like he was contending in every single big profile top 50 in the world event for 3 years. How many wins did he have?
He just had the one, right? Or two.
One. One, the
Or yeah,
Players.
one in that time, yeah.
Right. Other than
Because
other
yeah,
than all the things I just mentioned, 2014 he was 77th at the Players. He won the Players in 2015. Just everyone's got the magical week. And then in 2016, he missed the cut. So when I'm looking at it as a body of work of like, it's great. You came close. But when you're comparing it, people compare him to DJ. DJ's a guy that's
right.
won. DJ's won a guy that's won every single year on tour for what, the last 10 years, 12 years?
Yeah. I
Right?
mean, yeah.
Ricky wins every 2 years. Once
He
every
has
2 years.
23 wins, 23 PGA Tour wins. That's almost fivefold of what Ricky has on the
Right.
PGA Tour.
And also, like, I don't know how it happens, but Ricky ends up winning the events that everyone watches, right? Throw the Wells
Right.
Fargo out for a minute. Throw the Wells Fargo out for a minute. But he won the Players in 2015. Like, other than the 4 majors, that's another like fifth, maybe sixth thing that everyone watches. He won the Deutsche Bank in 2015 playoff event. He won the Honda Classic in 2017. That's like the almost like kickstart of the PGA season for a lot of people. If they're going to start to like tune in at some point, a lead up to the Masters, Honda's
Yeah.
where it is. And he won the Waste Management, the biggest party in the world. Everyone's watching that before the Super Bowl kicks off. It's Super Bowl weekend every single year. He's won and put himself in front of people every single time, where like the person that watches under 10 golf tournaments a year watches. And it's just like, oh,
Right.
wow, Ricky's there. He's winning. And then he goes and plays in the Olympics and he just parades around for the United States, gets the Olympic tattoo on his arm. Guess what he did in the Olympics? Dog shit.
Right. But yeah, he was one of the everyone was bailing on the Olympics because they didn't want to go because it was in where was it
Rio.
that? Oh, it was in
Rio. Rio.
Rio, and no one wanted to go because it was dangerous and all that kind of stuff. And he was just like, "Hey, yeah, I'm gonna be the only one go." Like you said, get the tattoo, buy in. He was at the opening ceremony. He was front and center, and he played like dog shit. But people don't remember that. They remember, yeah, he was right there. He was, no one remembers. Wasn't it Cooch that was Cooch won silver, right?
Cooch Rose won, Cooch was silver, and
I forget who was third, but
Stenson?
hmm,
Bronze? No,
yeah, it
Cooch was
might have been
bronze.
Stenson.
Cooch was bronze. Cooch in like classic Matt Kuchar fashion, backdoor to bronze medal.
Well, getting into Cooch, I know that's what we were kind of talking before that you said Ricky is Cooch,
Ricky's
essentially.
Ricky's Matt Kuchar. Like, just out of blind, I was like, you know what? Top top players to never win a major. And a couple guys came up, like Luke Donald, never won a major, but Luke Donald was the number one player in the world for the longest time, and that was during the Tiger era. So
Right.
like that's an accomplishment in and of itself. But
Hmm.
Rickie's been on tour for 10 years. Kuchar turned pro in 2000, so essentially he's been on tour for about 20 years. In Kuchar's first 10 years, he won same amount of events as Rickie in the first 10 years. He won the Honda Classic. Guess who also won the Honda Classic?
Rickie.
Rickie. He won the Turning Stone Resort Championship. Let's equate that to Quail Hollow. He won
Hmm.
the Barclays playoff event. He won the Players Championship. Rickie also won that. And then he won a WGC. Kind of the same
Yeah.
exact progression of what Rickie has done.
Right.
And even when you look at Cooch's major career, like he has a other than in the US Open. So for like a shorter guy like Cooch, I get it. But like other than the US Open, he's got a top five in every major championship. They're the
Hmm.
same guy. They're the same exact guy.
Yeah, I would say that's about. And I think Kuchar gets a ton of respect. Like I know we've always talked about like maybe he's a Freddie, which is Freddie's got 15 wins in one major. I mean, I could see. I don't think Rickie's going to have 15 PGA Tour wins, but I could see him, kind of having that type of career where maybe he gets a bunch in his 30. Maybe he does get 10 more. But what do you think is the reason for him not performing? Because I know what we always say about Rickie is like he's rich as hell. He has a hot wife. He just got married. He has more money in the world from endorsements. He just doesn't care. But obviously, I know we discussed this. That's not true. Like obviously, this guy practices a ton. He cares about golf. He's a winner. I mean, he's won all throughout junior golf, college golf. It's not like he's not a closer. When you get to that point, you're a closer if you make it that far in the PGA Tour. So, what do you think's holding him back?
I will argue exactly what you just said that he's not a closer. Because even I'm looking at this right now, what his PGA Tour career like summary is. When you look at his scoring average, I mean, from 2014 to 2016, his scoring average was never under 70. It was 70.17, 70.23, 70.12, right? The last 3 years, where I would argue Rickie's been worse than anyone that we're going to consider like an elite level golfer. He's been 69.08, 69.44, 69.95. In 2017, he was second in scoring rank. In 2018, he was eighth. And then this year, or last year in 2019, he was 15th. And between those 3 years, he has only 2 wins, but he's got 22 top 10 finishes. The guy just can't close. He just crumbles,
But
crumbles like
once
a
you say to
cheap lawn
get to
chair.
that point, like he has to be a killer a little bit to get on the PGA Tour to be there for going on 10 plus years. That you have to be a killer more than your average Joe.
He's a goddamn house cat.
Because what's the difference? I feel like that's the difference between the guys. It's like, yeah, the web.com tour guys or Corn Ferry tour guys, sorry, where it's like, yeah, what's the difference between these guys and the PGA Tour guys? And it's like it's just that instinct of like these guys on the PGA Tour just have it where they put it together more. So it's tough to say Rickie, who's he's still what's he 39th in the world, which sucks for Rickie, but at the same time, it's like so. But I think what we're getting into is we're not saying he's bad. We're saying that relative to his popularity and to what people think of him, he is bad. I think that's got to be the main misconception is he's not a bad he's 39th in the world, he's unbelievable, but at the same time people think that he's Arnold Palmer and that's the problem.
100%. And
Mhm.
he's the epitome of overrated.
Right.
He's performed throughout his career 5 times in like 3 of the 5 tournaments that like the average person would watch. So everyone sees him up there. But at the end
Right.
of the
He
day,
always
like
plays well at waste management. Waste management's like A, it's the biggest party in golf. B, it's Super Bowl Sunday, so everyone in their mother is going to some house, and before the Super Bowl starts, everyone's watching the waste management right up until 7 o'clock when Super Bowl festivities start. The dad at the party has the waste management on, so like everyone's watching that. It's like, oh, who's this guy? He looks pretty cool. Oh, 16, like so he wins these events where he's the PJ Tour's wet dream. He's winning their premier events.
Right, and
and
then
making it look cool.
the other thing is when you look at his even just put majors in, like, a microscope, his finishes in majors, especially that 2014 run, but even more recently, you can go to look to 2019, he was 9th at the Masters, 38th in the PGA, 43rd in the US Open, and T6 at the Open. Because of his marketability and because of how TV works, they're going to put him on the screen. So
Right.
people see him on Saturdays and Sundays making birdies and whatever, and he's like, "Oh my God, Rickie's making a run! Rickie's making a run!" And guess what? They make the turn and he disappears. And a guy like Molinari steps on his neck, and he's nowhere to be found. Right?
Right.
He gets more marketability and he gets more TV time than anyone because he's Rickie fucking Fowler, but he doesn't deserve it. There's better guys out there.
For sure. There's yeah. I
Like,
mean,
even in
much better guys.
2018, he was 28th. He came T28. I remember like it was yesterday. That was the year Molinari won, and Alex Noren was charging. Alex Noren, I think, came 4th in that event, and I think they televised like 3 of Alex Noren's shots coming down the back 9. I remember distinctly at Carnoustie, they showed him the par 3, the 17th, like playing, and other than that, that was it. But I mean, Noren should have had the shots that Rickie's had on TV, but
Right.
she's just some random Swedish dude that only guys like you and me would know. So guess what he gets? No TV time.
0. And yeah, Rickie gets everything. Yeah, I would agree. I think that's the problem is, and maybe to no fault of his own. I mean, obviously he's taking endorsements, he's agreeing to these commercials, but
He gets
to
all the
no
fault.
fault of his, you think so?
All the fault.
To no fault of his own, in my opinion, he gets compared to. I think the big one is Arnie because Puma has this big thing with the umbrella, and he gets comparisons to Arnie all the time. And I mean that kind of sucks for Rickie because at the same time it's like, all right, to live up to this guy, I need to win 6 majors. I think he has 6 majors. I could be wrong about that. Um, but like I don't know. I think that's where I draw the line. Where yeah, this guy was a tremendous golfer, and like you said, 14 to 16, he was awesome, and he was right there where everyone thought, okay, he's going to have a breakthrough, and now he's just been on this decline where I don't really see it getting better. Like especially because he's not a big hitter, and you can see all these guys are getting longer and longer and longer, and he's never had the best long game. He's never had the best iron game driver. He's always been a great putter,
Right. It's been
but at the end of the
sand
day,
game and
that's going
putting.
to put you right where he is, 30, 30 to 40th in the world, and you know, ho
Yeah.
hum. He's never going to win the big ones.
Correction. Arnie has 7 majors.
7.
But even we talked about it last week. They showed on Live From at Wingfoot with Rickie on the driving range. They had the camera on him for like 20 minutes, and he literally
Mhm.
has his like swing coach with his hands on his shoulders, like getting him into like slot position. And it's
Right.
like, dude, you're about to tee off at Wingfoot, and you don't know where your club position should be. He is
That's
going through.
insane.
He is going through like the most deep, like dark swing change, trying to find something right now that like I don't believe he's at rock bottom, but like it's only going to get worse before it maybe gets better. And honestly, his biggest asset was always like he was an incredible sand player, and I would trade my left leg to be as good of a putter as Rickie, and he's
Yeah.
been putting
Right.
absolutely terribly recently.
Yeah,
So
that's
like
a
if
surprise. I didn't realize how bad he putted at Wingfoot, where he was, I mean, I don't want to say in contention, but he was a storyline at Wingfoot at one point where it was like I think we
what
we
were you
talked about it was
watching?
after if it was after round 1 where he was 1 under. And like you're saying, due to the media bias, it was like, here's Rickie, like he's 1 under. Uh-oh. Where like everyone watching was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like when's he
He shot
gonna
one under. He shot one under in the easiest round. Put it that way.
right. So, but he was kind of making it into a storyline. So I was surprised how poorly he did putt. Let me ask you this: who do you think is in a worse position right now, Fowler or Spieth, in terms of let me say making it back to where they? That's tough because obviously Spieth's highs were much higher than Rickie's highs, but getting back to where they should be, I guess I should say, because I don't want to say back to the same level because Spieth is obviously winning majors and all this stuff. But do you think Spieth's in a worse headspace right now, or do you think it's Rickie?
I am by no means a Spieth fan,
Hmm.
but I think Spieth right now is at like a true rock bottom.
Right.
And if you're asking me who's going to win a PGA Tour event first from like today, September 25th out, I would put multiple hundreds of dollars on Spieth winning that first event before Ricky.
Because you think he's gotten to the point where it's like he's closer to seeing the incline, where like Rickie's still kind of,
Right, Ricky's still
and
going
obviously
down.
Spieth was a much better player when he figures it out. He was
Right, right.
obviously much better than Fowler, but
I think Spieth, while he doesn't look or seem like he should has like he doesn't have a golfer build, right? He's just kind of like that annoying dude that's really good at it.
mhm,
Um, I think Spieth at some point it's gonna click. And when you look at Spieth right now, it's nothing more than his off the tee game. He's still really sharp with his irons comparatively. He's still a
mhm.
tremendous putter and he still can get up and down from everywhere. He just can't hit a fairway. So when I'm talking about like a guy that can maybe like fix driver yips, but everything else is fine with Spieth versus Ricky, who is going to spray his driver. He's not a great iron player, but he may be able to get up and down. But right now his putter's not working. I'll take Spieth every day of the week.
Right. Yeah, I think he's closer. I also think the Spieth, like empathy towards Spieth is a little overblown. Where like people are showing pictures of him on the range alone, and they're like, "Oh my god!" Like I cried today watching Spieth on the range. It's like, yeah, he's going through a tough time, but like he's still playing decent golf, not comparatively to what he should be playing, but like you know, they're still around here and there where he puts it together, and it's like, oh, maybe he's that. I think that's like there have been guys who have lost their game and completely are gone and like get the full swing yips, and it's like he's not there. He needs to be there to where I start feeling bad for him.
Yeah, and I think when I look at Spieth, he definitely has a better caddy. Greller's tremendously better than Ricky's caddy,
Yeah, I don't
and I
even know
think
who
that
Ricky's
keeps
caddy is.
he's been the same dude for forever. He's just
Right.
another
Yeah.
Puma bro.
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah. What's now
I forget the
that you
guy's name.
mention him, I picture
Yeah,
him. I forget his name, but
I'm blanking on his name too.
yeah.
I just think that Spieth, and when you watch Spieth play golf, even now when he doesn't have his best, like he's grinding. Like
Hmm.
he's grinding out every single par. Like he wants it. Ricky's just like, all right, cool. I guess I'll just maybe make the cut, and if I do, I'm happy to shake the hand of the winner. Like that's Spieth's that's Ricky's reputation. Ricky's reputation is he is the forever bridesmaid. Like it's not a good
Right.
thing to be the dude that everyone expects to be greenside on 18 when your buddy or someone else on tour wins and you get to shake their hand first. Like that's the worst
Right.
position you could possibly be in. And that is like for a deep hardcore golf fan, that's Rickie Fowler's brand. Spieth's
Right. He's
brand,
the guy who's going to be at the scores table. It's Joe Scavron the caddy's name
Joe
for
Scarborough, yeah.
Joe Scavron. But
Spieth's brand is just kind of bitching and it's annoying, but when Spieth misses the cut or whatever, he goes back to the lab and he's grinding. He's trying to figure it out. I'd rather root for a guy like that than a dude that accepts defeat and is just like, cool, I'm happy for everyone who wins, but I'll take my, $18,000 paycheck for finishing T57.
right. And it's one of those things where I mean I remember Phil was like that a lot with Tiger where he was like, yeah, he would even like say yeah, Tiger's better than me, like that's fine, I'll take it, and maybe that's what he wasn't feeling inside, but I think what you think about Ricky is I mean, I think Spieth knows what it feels like to reach that top where people were saying he might have 18, 19 majors at the end. Like when he was winning all those, people were talking about him having the Grand Slam. If Zach freaking Johnson did steal that Open from him, he would have
Mm.
like he was right there to win 3 out of the 4 majors his first year. People were talking like this guy might be the next thing. Where for him to get back to that point, I think that's where he's struggling a lot. Where he was like, I was the guy. I was the next Tiger. Everyone's looking for, like we kind of talked about with Ricky, it's like the Tiger effect. Everyone's looking for that. Who's going to take that baton from Tiger? And that was Spieth. And now it's like, all right, now I can't even, contend. Where Rickie, it's like to get back to where Rickie was his best, he just has to win a scrappy PGA Tour event, win the waste management, and like contend in a major. And it's like, there's Rickie. That's the best he's ever been.
If you pulled a if you walked up to the pro shop of a random public golf course of your choosing and you asked the dude at the counter who is the better golfer right now, Rickie Fowler or Jordan Spieth, who would they say?
I would say Rickie, but I would also say there's a lot of like Spieth love out there where he's one of those where people love Spieth, but I would think just the random person would say Rickie. But I would say like a better question would be like who's the better golfer, Rickie or like Xander, right? Like something like that. Like who's the better golfer, Rickie or Xander Schauffele? Like who do you think is better?
Xander would put Ricky in a box and ship him off to Banana Town.
Exactly. But I think that's because I think Spieth has that commercial appeal where someone would be like, oh, yeah, Spieth. Like, he's won those majors. Like, an average golfer may go with Spieth just to like sound cooler, maybe. Like, he might think, like, everyone likes Fowler. I'm going to sound like the hipster and go Spieth, which is crazy. But yeah, I think if you set a guy like a Xander or who's like another
Hatton.
guy that yeah, like a Hatton. Yeah, a Hatton would be
Webb.
great because
Webb.
they would say who. That would be a short conversation. It'd be like, who?
Jazz Jane Watananand.
Right. Anyone. Uh
Well,
but
the reason I asked
yeah.
this question is this. So, like, I don't know if you watched the 2019 Waste Management, but Ricky won 2019 Waste Management before the Super Bowl,
Oh.
and like Brandon Grace should have won that event. Brandon
Mhm.
Grace on 17 hit a perfect drive at the drivable par four, leaked
Went
into
in
the
the water.
water, leaked into the water. Ricky ended up winning, and Ricky blew that lead. Ricky was up like four with a 54 hole lead, blew it all back, and Grace went in the water. Ricky ended up winning. Fine, it's a
Yeah.
win. I believe Ricky was crowned watching that. But if you eliminate that, just bear with me, eliminate that from Ricky's record. His last win was February 26th, 2017 at the Honda. That is a true legitimate win. The Honda's a tough track. Florida
Yeah.
swing. That's a legitimate win. 2017, February 26th.
Yeah.
Spieth's last win was July 23rd, 2017 as well. So
Wow.
Spieth's won, like, again, I can't say this because Fowler did actually win the 2019 in
Right.
Arizona,
Yeah.
but they pretty much Spieth's won more recently. If I'm taking that event away,
Right.
Spieth is closer than Ricky by far.
Yeah. I would think so. And I think being at rock bottom where like it seems like Ricky's still kind of fiddling with it where like I think Spieth has come to the conclusion like something's wrong and I need to figure something
Yeah,
out. And
yeah.
then yeah,
Spieth's like going through the 12 steps. You know what I mean? Like
right,
apology
exactly.
and all,
Yeah,
like he's acceptance and all that kind of stuff. Like he's he's deep in the process where Ricky's just like drinking his wine and shooting his Quicken Loans commercials and what's BMI even mean, Rick? And he's just floating
it,
like nothing. Like you'll see if you like follow any of these guys on Twitter or Instagram, like you'll see videos of dude just like grinding on the range. When was the last time you saw a video of Ricky grinding on the range? Even like
right,
take a guy like Justin Rose, who's sold out to Morgan Stanley and Bonobos and everyone. He posts shit online all the time of him grinding on the range in the Bahamas. Even he hasn't been. I can't say he hasn't been relevant, but like he hasn't been on like the big stage since he made that equipment change. But like he's
right,
still putting himself out there and grinding. You don't see anything from Rick. The most marketable dude in the world can't put himself out there to say like, "Yo, I'm really trying."
right.
He's in a hole, man. He's in a deep, dark place, and he's not at the deepest, darkest place yet. He's yet to find the bottom of the Marianas Trench.
And what's interesting, I saw something, maybe it was Twitter or whatever it was, but they were talking about the marriage in golf and the issue with marriage in golf. And it does seem like when guys get married, for whatever reason, golf goes to shit. And you would think it would be different because you would think it would be when they're dating, they're trying to woo her a little bit. So it's like And when they get married, it's like, hey, this is my job. This is what I do. We're married. Like, I'm going to focus on golf and you, whatever. But you would think when they're, but it is an interesting relationship where it seems like guys with girlfriends, like, I mean, Ricky won the Players and he was making out with that,
That's
his
all
one
that
girlfriend
I gotta
afterwards.
I gotta stop you right there. That is one of the biggest things that I hate about Ricky. If you're gonna have like a signature win in your career, make sure the girl that's coming out onto the green to congratulate you is like your girl,
Right.
not some girl like floozy girl you're dating. That yellow dress is imprinted into my brain forever, and people who are deep in the scene know it. That like that's the girl that came out there, and now Ricky in his, which in my opinion will probably be the biggest win of his
Signature.
career, his
Yeah.
signature win. Every single picture of that win is going to be with some girl that is an afterthought.
Right.
Like
I
had
do
like
agree
it's
with
a
that. Like,
biggest misstep. Don't bring that girl out. Bring your mom out. Bring whoever you want out. But the girl in the yellow dress, say, sweetheart, stay on the side.
right, exactly, and that's the problem with, and that may be the reason that win. Like, you do see a lot of footage from that win, but they never show that part where she runs out on the 17th green and makes out with him, and then at the end she's standing there, and it's like, if you're dating a girl, obviously you want her to be there, whatever, you're obsessed with her at that point, but you have and his family was there and she ran out, he made out with her basically, and then his family came out and he hugged them. It's like, there, she should be an afterthought. Like, I completely understand if she's there, but to have a girlfriend you've been with a few months be like the one that when you win she's there, you and her on the 17th green, it's like,
It's the worst. The worst.
yeah, especially for
Unacceptable.
your signature win. I mean, I know his wife can't be thrilled about that every time he goes back to Sawgrass.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a picture in his office of him holding the trophy and, you know, Sweet Cheeks
She's
over there
standing
is just
right there.
standing
She
there
has
next
to
to
love
mom.
that.
Oh yeah. She got like
But yeah,
a
that
million
that was
Instagram
a
followers out of that probably.
yeah, and that was a problem with Ricky there. Like, he does that. It's like he
No
just
self-awareness. No
right.
self-awareness when it comes to that stuff.
And I don't know. I was always a Ricky fan. I feel like I don't know. I always liked him because he made golf cooler. He was great for the game. He grew the game and stuff like that. But I think there's a big misconception, like what you're saying, is he actually good? Is he cool? Is he like whatever? Was he wearing cool clothes? Even though I will say his clothes were hideous, but was he wearing cool things? Like when I worked for a junior tour when he was good, so probably from 2011 to 2014 or whatever, and every kid was wearing Ricky stuff. It
Yeah.
was like probably what Tiger was like in the 2000s. Like, every kid wore a Puma hat, so he really grew the game. Everyone really, but he just wasn't good, and that's the misconception. Is he's not Freddie, he's not Arnie, he's not I don't know who else they compare him to. He's just not that kind of guy. He's a he's more of an Anthony Kim character or something like that, where he's a cool dude and he's like a myth, but it's like, yeah,
He's
he just never really produced like
he's Steve Pate.
Steve Pate.
Go
I mean, he was a cool dude.
go rewatch some Masters if you need to find out who Steve Pate is. Go back
Yeah,
to
I
like
have no
go,
idea.
yeah, go back to
Yeah,
like 92.
you watched all those like old masters, every single one.
Yeah.
Who was the cool dude in the 70s, 80s, and 90s?
I mean, Craig Statler was the man.
Yeah,
The
Stads.
walrus. The walrus. But yeah, going through like some of those old masters, Steve Pate was the guy that like hung around for a while, and he just net like let me look this up. He has at least I think he has at least set two second places at the Masters. Steve
Huh.
Pate. Let's see. Steve Pate. He was third in 91, seventh in 91. Yeah, he had a great 91 season or 92 season. Masters, he was third in 91. PGA Championship, he was seventh in 91. And then in the Open, he was fourth in 92. Comeback Player of the Year in 99, 8 professional wins. Maybe a rookie Steve Pate. 90, yeah,
Is
Steve Pate, look at this. 88, 36th, 89. 26. Didn't play in 90. Third in 91. Sixth in 92. Cut in 93. Fourth in 99. He just like sprinkled in some. He's got a top 5 in every major. Not in the same
I was
year, but he's got a top 5 in every major.
I was gonna say, even though he passed away way too young, I was thinking, is Ricky Payne Stewart wearing crazy stuff, popular dude, everyone loves him. I didn't realize Payne Stewart won 3 majors. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that would be
3 majors and 11 tour events.
that
So
would
he
be
is
the
not Payne
the
Stewart.
big gaping hole in your argument.
Yeah, I thought he maybe won. Like from what I can remember, I thought he literally won at Pinehurst and had 11 major wins. So I was like, if Ricky can get like 6 more wins and 1 major and whatever, like maybe he's Payne Stewart, because Payne Stewart, he died when he was. See if I can do this math. I think he was
42.
42.
Yeah,
Yeah,
42.
1957 to 1999. So like, he probably didn't have too many more wins in him. So like, could Ricky be that? But with 3 majors, Payne Stewart was way better than him.
Yeah, I mean, and two of those being U.S. Opens.
Right. So he won at Pinehurst. I don't even know where else he won, but
What was 91? 91 Hazeltine.
oh wow,
He won Hazeltine, and then he won the PGA Championship in '89 at Kemper Lakes
Kemper Lakes.
in Illinois.
Really haven't even heard of that. I've heard of Kemper Lakes maybe in passing, but I didn't know that was a major golf course.
Yeah. He had
Ooh,
Rickie Fowler's, not Payne Stewart. Payne just rolled over in his grave with that comparison. I'm sorry to hear that.
yeah. He's like,
Oh,
dude, I died when I was 42 years old. I'm still like exponentially better than that fucking stiff.
hold on. I got
But
one more name I want to look up. See if Ricky is this guy. What about Jasper Parnevik?
oh god,
Ooh, this is it.
yes,
19,
I could see that. Dresses
19
crazy.
1998. Jasper won his first PGA Tour title. Guess where it was?
Honda.
No, he won the Honda in 2001, though.
Oh wow. TPC. Sawgrass.
Nah,
Did he
Phoenix.
ever win a Players? Oh,
Never
Phoenix.
won the. He won the Phoenix in '98. He won the Greater Greensboro Classic in '99. He won the Bob Hope Chrysler Classic in 2000. He won the GTE Byron Nelson Classic in 2000 as well, and then the Honda Classic in 2001. He's got 5
All big
PGA Tour
events,
wins.
and then Greensboro
Yep.
was. I mean, that's basically Quail
Well,
Hollow.
exact. He's Jasper. No
He's
majors.
Jesper.
No majors. Masters T20, PGA Championship T5, U.S. Open T14, and then the Open he was second twice, 94 and 97.